Faith without works is dead. We've got to give God something to bless. This law requires that you pair vision with movement because God can only multiply what you are willing to move on. Manifestation demands motion. Did you know that only 1.9% of women entrepreneurs, 0.9% of Black business owners, and just 0.5% of Black women entrepreneurs ever cross the seven-figure mark? That changes right here. If you are ready for high-level, high-income conversations about all things millions, your mission, your mindset, your methodologies, your mandate, your movement, your messaging, your marketing, your metrics, and of course, your money, just by listening, your income is going all the way up. Every week, you'll hear powerful stories, transformational interviews, and million-dollar business growth insights to help you scale and sustain a seven-figure business with grace and ease, not hustle and grind. I am your host, Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon, award-winning spiritual business growth strategist, eight-figure entrepreneur, and God girl on a mission to help you experience abundance in your life because of your business. This is the Move to Millions podcast. Welcome home. Before we dive into this week's episode, let me ask you something real quick. If this podcast has ever made you think deeper, shift something in your spirit, or take bold, bankable action in your business, would you do me a favor? Would you take a moment and scroll down and leave us a rating or review? Listen, that's how we grow this message and get it into the ears of more seven-figure CEOs and seven-figure CEOs in the making. Your words matter. Your support matters. So please take a moment to go ahead, rate, review, and then come right back because this episode is about to shift everything. Girl, eight-figure entrepreneur and the award-winning CEO of Incredible One Enterprises. I am so excited to be back with you. If this is your very first time here, welcome home. This is a safe, aligned, and significant space for you to finally get the soul and the strategy that you need in order to generate seven figures a year. The Move to Millions has never been about 1 million. It has always been about millions, and seven figures is the floor. You are just getting started in the land of financial legacy when you are making millions. Our mission with our clients is to get them to a minimum of 3 million so that there's 1 million to run their business, 1 million for their life, legacy, and lifestyle, and there's 1 million in cash reserves for their business every single year. The way we change the statistics is by becoming multimillionaires, by creating a financial legacy because we feel safe in our body with money and we have capacity for more to flow in. It's because we have created a relationship with money that is our sanctuary. So again, I say welcome to the Move to Millions podcast. We have been in our Soul Leadership series, and y'all, we are at the end. This is the final episode, the 7th episode in this powerful series. I want to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up every single week. I keep watching our downloads climb and climb and climb. It means that this podcast is getting into more eardrums every single week. And I have you to thank for that. So if you've already rated and reviewed the podcast, thank you so much. If you have not done so yet, and this podcast has changed anything for you, remember, some of you will get this reference. Arsenio Hall used to have a segment on his show, Things That Make You Go, If this podcast has ever made you go, then please do us a favor and rate and review an episode. Every time you do that, you help us to expand our reach. More people become aware of the Move to Millions podcast. We want this movement to take over. I mean, the warm and fuzzies that come along with being spiritually and soul aligned and having a business that serves you financially as well as spiritually is what every entrepreneur and small business owner wants, even if they don't know that they want it. And so you listening, you rating and reviewing the show, you sharing it with other people is going to help to make that happen for us. And I also want to say thank you to those of you who have already gone to grab your copy of my best-selling book, Move to Millions, The Proven Framework to Become a $1 Million CEO with Grace and Ease Instead of Hustle and Grind. The book is available wherever you like to buy your books and on Audible. And it comes with a powerful companion guide for free. All you need to do once you get the book is go to the URL we give you inside the book, and you can download our powerful companion guide that gives you all of the checklists and the templates that I refer to in the mastery section of the book. I'm so excited. We just recently received an email from the very first person who purchased a copy of the book, took the actions that I suggest in the book, and has experienced 7 figures in a year inside of their business. Congratulations. I'm so excited. There might be more, but this is the first person who actually told us. So I want you to get a copy of this book because it's a game changer, not just to be part of your professional library, but to actually be indoctrinated into the way you show up. And when you get to the point where you want some mentorship and community to accompany the power of the book, then we want you to come and learn all about House of Millions. That is our suite of business advisory programs designed to serve and support you to get your business to and beyond the $1 million mark, leveraging our powerful Move to Millions framework and methodology. So again, I say welcome. We are on the last episode in the Soul Leadership series. This time around, we are talking about obedience, your relationship with God, and the universal spiritual laws that govern our ability to experience our heart's greatest desires. We're going to talk about what I'm calling the trifecta of soul alignment. So my goal for you in this episode is to anchor the entire series, everything that I've shared with you, in truth that is sustainable, that flows from God, and invites you to experience divine obedience through an intimate relationship with our Creator and alignment with the universal laws that govern everything that we do. This is the spiritual governance behind soul-led scaling that we're getting in this episode. So here's what I want to be very, very clear. And even as I make this first comment, you don't need another planner. Now, if you don't have the Move to Millions 90-day planner, I want you to get a copy because it is a game changer, especially when paired with Move to Millions, the book. It's a game changer for you. But you don't need another planner. You don't need another AI tool. You don't need another productivity hack. What you need is a deeper relationship with the one who called you to the work that you want to do. Now, let me sidebar real quick and say this. I am not religious and I'm not coming at you religiously, right? I used to be a church girl, but now I'm a God girl because for me, it's about relationship with the creator of your soul, of this abundant universe, not about some religious set of rites and rituals. The reviews are in. Move to Millions, the proven framework to become a $1 million CEO with grace and ease instead of hustle and grind, is a bestseller. With thousands of copies sold, we are raising a generation of $1 million CEOs. You got next. Grab your copy and our bonuses today at movetomillionsbook.com. Ever wish as a podcast episode comes to an end that we could spend more time together? Well, I want to make sure that you know about our free community on Facebook. If you are a millions-minded entrepreneur who wants to go from millions on your mind to millions in your bank account, then we should spend more time together. Get all the details you need to join us in our free Facebook community at movetomillionsgroup.com. So this is not about anything other than finding a relationship with God for yourself. I grew up in the church. That's why I said I used to be a church girl. I was in the church up and through my first engagement that blew up in the church because my first ex-fiance confessed 3 months before our wedding that he'd gotten an older fellow trustee pregnant in the church. And when all of that happened, I left the church. Yes, church hurt is real. Now, I have since done all the work required to forgive each of them individually, the church, the collective body, all of that. But I did leave the church, but I did not leave God. I ran face first into God's arms because I needed at that point, with that happening, I needed to figure out who God was for Darnyelle Antoinette. I knew who God was for my Aunt Ida. I knew who God was for my step-grandfather, Mr. Henry. I knew who God was for my mom and my dad, but I didn't know who God was for Darnyelle, for my soul. And that defining moment is what allowed me to begin to build a relationship with God without the filter of religion. I actually studied the Quran and the Torah. I studied some other religious texts. I looked into Kabbalah. I studied a lot of things, and what I found is that there is only one true and living God. He may have another name depending upon how you move, but there's one. And the universality of the one is who I've built relationship with. Now, I happen to love Jesus. I grew up Christian. So I do love and believe in Jesus. And I have often said I subscribe to the doctrines of Christianity. But Jesus didn't even consider himself to be Christian. Christian was actually noted later as kind of like a dig, right? And I don't want to be confined to religion because God is big. And so I want to focus on the kairos and the bigness of relationship with God. So that's for me, not for you. But I just do think it's important that I share that with you. I will talk Bible. I am starting my own Bible study for my community because I think it's important that we understand the spiritual text and the spiritual significance of building businesses for such a time as this. This whole soul leadership pillar that was added to the Move to Millions method was added because of an unction in my spirit that I needed to go deeper and beyond strategy, sales, systems, and support and the lumped success mindset, that I needed to go deeper because people need to do the soul work that will unlock their capacity for millions to flow into their life experience. And so today we're getting into what it looks like, feels like, sounds like, tastes like, and smell like to build a deeper relationship with the one who called you. Because I believe that scaling is not just a business move, it's a spiritual commission. And overflow only flows through alignment. So this episode, my hope for this episode is to anchor everything that we've been building in this series, because this is where strategy meets soul and spirit and heaven meets execution. So let's jump in. Obedience is the highest form of strategy. I'm going to say that again because some of y'all don't want to be obedient. I'm raising my hand in the video because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirts for not doing what I said. Now, I just said I'm starting a Bible study. Do you know I got the mandate to do a Bible study 5 years ago? And I kept hemming and hawing and creating reasons and excuses as to why I couldn't. And then finally, I realized what God is asking of me is so minor in comparison to all that he has given me and gifted me to experience in this life. At the time of recording this episode, I just got back from Southeast Asia. I spent an amazing, revelatory time in Thailand. I'm from the projects of Wilmington, Delaware, y'all. I have seen parts of this world that I probably should not have ever seen. But God has gifted me with this amazing gift that it helps other people and they pay me really well to solve their problems. And as a result, I am a multimillionaire and I get to experience things that others might not. And being obedient, doing what he's asked of me, is just a small way that I can begin to honor that he chose to favor my life and give me this powerful anointing. So when you combine obedience with divine relationship and spiritual law, I believe you activate a kind of ease, a kind of peace, a kind of overflow that hustle will never produce. This trifecta, obedience, relationship, and the laws, is how you stop grinding and how you start flowing. It's how you stop striving and how you begin to thrive. It's how you start to receive at the pace of peace. So let's first talk about what is obedience and what does it mean to do what you know to do. Obedience is not about rules per se. It's about receiving. It's about following divine instruction, even when it doesn't make sense on paper. It's launching what God told you to launch. It's leaving what no longer serves you, even when it's profitable. I've done it. I know many friends and colleagues who have also left really profitable programs because they were no longer called or aligned to it. And it's doing this when it no longer serves you, even when you don't want to. It's trusting what you heard in private, even when it's unpopular in public. Delayed obedience is still disobedience for anybody who wasn't clear and wasn't sure. It's still disobedience. And it's important to understand also that partial obedience is still disobedience. Every time you override what you know to do in your knower, or what you heard the Holy Spirit say, the God in you say, you introduce friction where you should be experiencing flow. Only 4.2% of small businesses ever reach 7 figures. And many never do, not because they lack the skill or even the product. I believe it's because they ignored their spirits. I love Isaiah 1:19, which says, if you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. Obedience is not punishment, it's permission. It's how you unlock the life and business that God has already designed you to experience. That is how you do it. Let's talk now for a few minutes about relationship. Now, I already gave you my little sidebar about my own personal relationship and how I stopped being religious. And here's what I believe. I believe that it's important to be in relationship with the Creator because you can't hear what you don't prioritize. And I want you to think about every relationship that you have that bears fruit, how you tend to that relationship, right? When I think about being married and communicating and spending time with my husband to grow our relationship, I communicate and spend time with the Father to grow our relationship. I communicate and spend time with money to grow our relationship. Every relationship I'm in that relationship to produce fruit from that relationship. So I'm putting in the time. I'm doing the work. I'm being considerate and cognizant of that person, that relationship, that thing, because it is important to me. It matters. Want to know what it's like to work with me and the Incredible Factor University coaching team? You can get started today with the Move to Millions 90-day business growth planner. 90 days at a time, you'll be setting your business on a trajectory that will make the move to millions happen much faster for you. It's got everything that you need to track every strategy, every sale, all of your KPIs, as well as your self-care and life transformational needs. We made sure we left nothing out of this amazing planner. And by accessing the planner, you'll get a behind-the-scenes view of what it's like to work with me and my team. Go grab yours today at movetomillionsplanner.com. If your business is already making $400,000 a year or more, and you know you're the bottleneck to scaling, it's time to get in proximity to high-level strategy and soul-aligned execution. Apply now for Proximity, our mastermind for mid-six-figure CEOs ready to scale and sustain seven-figure businesses. All the details are waiting for you right now at movetomillionsmastermind.com. And I want to tell you the truth. I believe that you cannot outsource your relationship with God, not to your coach, not to your content calendar, not even to your calling. The only way to receive divine strategy and divine downloads is to cultivate divine intimacy. Your quiet time is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's your real strategy sessions. Listen, when I am tapped in, tuned in, and frequency turned all the way up into what the Holy Spirit is saying, I get God ideas, not good ideas. That is where Sanctuary, the new program that I'm going to be launching this fall, came from. God idea. Tapped in, tuned in relationship, communicating on a regular basis. I get on the treadmill every day for 30 minutes. And when I'm on the treadmill, my mandate to myself is that I do not speak English. I speak to God in my prayer language. Immediately after getting off the treadmill, I go upstairs after stretching and all of that. I go upstairs and I get in the shower. The water is a conduit of energy. When I get into the shower, I invite God. I surround myself in the white light of protection, and I tap into the Holy Spirit, and I hear the divine downloads. I hear what God is saying based on 30 minutes of speaking in my prayer language on the treadmill and activating the flow, the abundance, because I'm immersed in water. I hear what God is saying, and I get the God ideas that move my life, my business, my everything forward. And I am in this relationship to listen and to respond and to move when he says move, just like that. Without consistent communion, I believe you'll always default to being in control, and surrender is a powerful business growth strategy. I believe you'll confuse God's instructions with your own ego's agenda. There are those who believe that ego stands for edging God out, but I'm going to just leave that right there. And you'll try to scale using other people's blueprint for something only you were anointed to build. John 10:27 says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." Your ears must be trained. Your spirit must be still enough to receive what God is saying. Because if you're not prioritizing relationship, I'm going to go so far as to say you're not truly leading. You're just reacting, and nobody wants to be just reacting. Can I get a witness? Can I make it clear? Can I make it absolutely obvious what is at stake if you are not careful? You're going to actually just be reacting, and that's not what God designed you to experience. I just want to pause right there for a second, and I just want to let it breathe. So if you are listening right now, I want you to just take a moment, and I'm going to give us a little bit of space in this episode. This is probably unorthodox. People don't do this, but I just want to give you a couple of seconds of space to just breathe in and breathe out on your ability to leverage obedience to go to your next level. Let's take a moment. All right, and we're back. I hope that moment served you to just sit in the significance of what's possible for you. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to talk about the universal laws, which I believe is God's system of giving us access to what we most desire and crave. Now, I want to be very, very clear right here. Universal laws are not new age. They are God-authored principles that are baked into the fabric of creation. And you probably know many of these laws. So let me walk through all of them. So we're going to start with the law of polarity. The law of polarity says every perceived lack contains the seed of abundance. You cannot experience one without access to the other. So whatever you are doing, so if you say, if you say something like, I am broke, well, at the same time that you are broke, money also exists. Like polarity means both sides of the coin are present together. So if you shift your focus, you can shift your financial frequency. Number 2 is the law of cause and effect. It says money flows as a direct result of your thoughts, decisions, and actions. Nothing is random. Every dollar is a reflection of a deeper choice. So if you sow aligned seeds, then you can expect aligned harvest. And I should sidebar and say, as I talk about these laws, I most often make them about money and about abundance. So you can use money or abundance interchangeably. Number 3, the law of detachment, which says you must release control, need, and obsession in order to allow anything to flow into your life experience. Trust creates space for divine timing and divine provision. Clingy energy actually repels, whereas surrender magnetizes. The law of purpose. It says money flows most abundantly to visions that serve a higher assignment. When you are aligned with purpose, provision follows. Clarity of purpose accelerates your compensation. The law of circulation, what you give freely, joyfully, and without fear returns multiplied. Money must move to multiply. Stagnation stops flow. Circulation creates overflow. Law of compensation, you are compensated in proportion to the value you deliver, the beliefs you hold, and the energy you embody. You don't get what you want. You get what you match energetically. The law of vibration, your frequency determines your reality. Talking about money specifically, money is energy and it responds to your dominant thoughts, feelings, and embodiment. You cannot attract what you don't believe you're safe to receive. The law of sowing and reaping, what you plant through thoughts, words, actions, or intentions, you will harvest. This law reflects the principle of cause and effect, which I told you earlier, and you can't expect an abundant harvest if you've never sowed with generosity, faith, or diligence. The law of reciprocity. Every giving action creates a ripple that returns to you, often multiplied. It governs mutual exchange and reinforces the idea that generosity and contribution are divine currencies that always circle back. The law of alignment. When your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors are aligned with your purpose and divine truth, everything flows with greater ease. This law ensures that internal coherence creates external results. And the law of action. Faith without works is dead. We've got to give God something to bless. This law requires that you pair vision with movement because God can only multiply what you are willing to move on. Manifestation demands motion. Those are there are 11 laws that I shared with you. And again, universal laws are not new age. They are God-authored principles that govern how we move and how we experience. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest will never cease. Genesis 8:22 says that. And in the Psalms, it says, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. These laws are not suggestions. They are systems. When you violate divine law, you block divine flow. You can't vibrate in fear and expect to magnetize abundance. You can't sow from scarcity and expect to reap sustainability. You can't avoid rest and expect clarity. God is not random. He is principled. He works in principles. He is systematic. And when you align with his systems, you activate overflow. The laws of heaven are not mystical. They are mathematical. Obey the formula and the fruit will follow. Here are 3 soul-aligned actions that will help you to embody this trifecta right now. This is your invitation to align with God's system. This is your invitation to step boldly and fully into your divine birthright. Not just strategy, not just your strategy. So number 1, I want you to say this out loud, pray this out loud. God, I recommit to obedience. I prioritize intimacy. I honor your laws. Let my business be a reflection of my alignment with you. Oh, that feels so good. Let me say it one more time. God, I recommit to obedience. I prioritize intimacy. I honor your laws. Let my business be a reflection of my alignment with you. Number 2, create space daily that is sacred. No phone, no planner, just you and God. And ask, what instruction have I been avoiding? Write it down and take action. And number 3, spend some time in your journal. Here are 3 questions to prompt you to get in there and get in. Where have I been delaying obedience? Number 2, what area of my business is out of spiritual order? And number 3, what divine law have I ignored and what would it look like for me to realign? So now you have all 7 of the soul shifts inside of the soul leadership pillar in the Move to Millions Method 2.0. Confidence, alignment, surrender, forgiveness, embodiment, obedience, and law. But these are not just concepts. Hear me. They are not just concepts. They are spiritual recalibrations. They are an opportunity to align internally so that you can begin to raise your vibration and your energetic field so that you can experience everything that God desires for you. This is not just content, y'all. This is covenant. You have been shown what's required to scale from the soul. Again, confidence, alignment, surrender, forgiveness, embodiment, obedience, and the law. And now it's time to go deeper. If this series has moved you in any way, if as you look over your life and your business, you see the strategy really, really clear, but the soul is a little fuzzy, I want to invite you to apply for a soul and strategy conversation with me or a member of my team. I want to walk through where you're out of alignment in your life and in your business and help you to map a way forward that will be both scalable and sacred. Because you are not just building a business, you're stewarding a movement. This is not about grinding your way to millions. This is about aligning and creating embodied capacity for them. Because when obedience, intimacy, and divine law meet, heaven backs your business. Oh, can I get a witness? And overflow becomes inevitable. I hope you have enjoyed this Soul Leadership series as much as I have enjoyed presenting it to you. This is just a snapshot into a lot of the work that we're doing in our House of Millions business advisory programs, supporting our clients with the soul and the strategy that's going to take their business to and beyond 7 figures. And there is nothing that would bring me more joy than to assist you on the journey. Remember, God will give you more while you're moving than he ever will if you stand still. Millions are your birthright, and to access them, you need only move. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thank you for joining me for the Move to Millions podcast. If this episode has impacted you in any way, would you please take a moment and rate and review? Doing so helps us to deepen our impact and expand our reach around the world. And if you are ready to start your very own Move to Millions, I highly recommend that you order your very own copy of my brand new best-selling book, Move to Millions, the proven framework to become a $1 million CEO with grace and ease instead of hustle and grind. You can get your copy and our bonuses today at movetomillionsbook.com. Until next time, remember, millions are your birthright, and to access them, you need only move. I'll see you next time.